Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I am great. How are you?
Hanging out with my wife, so I'm doing awesome. And we've got a fun guest coming up later in the program as well. Going to be visiting with Jennifer Palmieri about her new book called Dear Madam President, and it's an open letter to the lady who's going to run, maybe a young girl right now, could be a young lady, that's going to run our country someday.
Okay.
She says, I believe our first female president is alive today, and she wrote this book to that person. I think that's kind of a neat idea. So that's coming up later in the program. I do have a couple of quotes for this weekend. We'll start with the Saturday quote. It says, far better is it to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much because they live in a gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. That's quite a quote right there.
It's
tough for me to say it. And then one other here. This is the Sunday quote. Care about what other people think and you will always be their prisoner. Lao Tzu.
That is true.
Don't care about what other people think. That's my quote. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. Saturday, May the 19th, is National Devil's Food Cake Day. Do you like devil's food cake?
I do.
Do you like angel food cake?
I do.
Which do you like better?
I just like cake.
All right. Well, I like them both as well. I like angel food cake a little better, though. It's also on Saturday, National May Ray Day. It is National Armed Forces Day and National Learn to Swim Day. It's a good thing to do. To learn to swim.
Oh, for sure.
Sunday, the 20th of May, is National Rescue Dog Day, National Be a Millionaire Day. Wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be so great.
That'd be cool. National Pick Strawberries Day, National Quiche Lorraine Day, and National Take Your Parents to the Playground Day. I remember when our daughter took us to the playground, and you guys got me on video falling off a piece of equipment.
That was hilarious.
In a very spectacular way. I got dizzy, and when I got off the equipment, I kept spinning, and then I kind of did a fancy flip into the dirt pile. Didn't feel good. Couple of fun things happening this weekend. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. That's 800-818-3967. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
John and Heidi.
Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs, but first, this story about a woman's brain. A Nebraska woman suffering with a chronically runny nose for the last 2 years recently discovered it was her brain fluid that was leaking out of her nose. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so she had a chronically runny nose, finally went to the doctor and said, I have no idea what's going on. And they said, well, your brain is leaking.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine that? I didn't even know that was a thing. Did you know that was a thing?
I did not know that was a thing.
Next time
every time I get a runny nose, I'm going to be paranoid.
Yeah. Oh, I hope it's not my brain leaking out. I wonder how you can tell the difference.
I wonder how you stop that.
I don't know. Probably with a cotton swab. I have no clue. I'm assuming that there's probably a lot more to it than that. But yeah, it was part of her brain leaking out of her nose.
Wow.
For 2 years. That's crazy. We got your brain on drugs coming up.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. A 24-year-old Virginia woman allegedly was driving drunk in New Jersey over the weekend. This is from a few weeks back. She smashed into two parked cars. Then she decided, hey, the cops are on the way. Let's trade seats. So she changed seats with her drunk friend, who then crashed into another two vehicles. Officers responding to a 911 call in Hoboken found Jamelia Banks and she's from Alexandria, Virginia. She was in the front seat of the SUV. Janelle Green, a 23-year-old friend from Newark, was behind the wheel at this point. Police say both women reeked of alcohol and reported that they had been out clubbing. They allegedly told the cops that they were trying to figure out who was less drunk so they could drive. Both were over the legal limit. One had a blood alcohol of 0.17. The other had 0.14. Cops say they damaged 4 vehicles, 3 Hondas and 1 Nissan. What are the odds of that?
Wow. That is
3
interesting.
Hondas and 1 Nissan. Anyway, both charged with drunk driving in a school zone and reckless driving. The SUV was impounded, by the way. So bad idea. Always, always, always have a designated driver. And if you don't have that, there are tons of people who will get you home.
And there are so many services that,
it's literally a phone call away or a click away. So don't drive drunk. It's a bad idea.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. Woody Allen was cut from the filming of a documentary about the Carlisle Hotel over fears that his sexual allegations against him could damage the movie. So I'm not sure what the movie is, but he's one of the many people who are being scrutinized right now for things that he's done in his past. Producers have announced that actor Sean William Scott is replacing Clayne Crawford in the newly ordered 3rd season of Lethal Weapon. Scott joins the series as a new character who folds into a partnership with Damon Wayans' character, Murtaugh. Crawford was fired from the Fox drama for alleged bad behavior on the set during the last season, season 2. I've only seen part of one episode of that, and it looks good, but I don't understand. It's not really Lethal Weapon. Do you remember the movie Lethal Weapon?
I remember the movie. I didn't even know there was a TV show.
They did a little TV reboot, and there's more and more of that, where they're saying, hey, since we ran out of ideas, let's go back to something that was good, and then let's ruin that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I got to tell you, again, not to get on the Cobra Kai bandwagon here, but
that is amazing.
That's one where I think it's better than the movies.
Oh, it is brilliant.
It is so good. And if you haven't seen it, I got to tell you, we watched one episode with our son who was insistent that we watch it. And both of us were saying, I just don't know. I really liked Karate Kid. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. And our son was telling us how good it is. He talked us into watching it. And then we binge watched everything over the next couple of days. So it was good. Big Screen, Little Screen brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Now, your scoop of the day, courtesy of 49bydesign.com. I've got a mishmash of all kinds of stuff. These are several stories that I've had now for multiple days. This one is actually a newer one here, but I said I got to go through and just kind of clean up some of the stuff that's stacking up. A book that's nearly 5 decades overdue was returned to San Francisco Public Library. It is a book called Soul on Ice. It was due in 1970. Made it 47 years, 4 months, 29 days late. How much do you think the fine would have been?
I don't know.
It would have been $1,731.70.
I was expecting for that long.
They capped the fine at $10.01, so you'll never pay more than that. This is not the oldest book ever returned, by the way. What do you think the oldest book is? How many years?
I don't know. 70 years.
A man at another branch. This is just in the San Francisco library, by the way. Returned a book called 40 Minutes Late, but the book was 100 years late.
Oh.
Just over 100 years late. So there you go. I got a link to that whole story in our show notes.
I would hope that people who returned that book didn't have to pay that $10.01 fine, because it's not like...
Could have been.
Most likely it wasn't the same person.
They probably got that many dollars worth of exposure out of the deal, so why not? Kind of a fun story here. A black rat snake has slithered its way around the door handle at the Breaks Interstate Park in Pikeville, Kentucky. So it's basically just hanging out on the doorknob greeting people as they were getting there. And it looked like a rubber snake in the picture, but it was a real snake. And I'll bet there were at least a few people who thought it was a fake snake and, reached for it thinking, okay, who's playing with us here. I've got a link to the photo on Twitter. It's actually kind of cool. 2 Tennessee high school students are facing charges after an attempt to lift a girl's dress, and she stabbed him with scissors.
Oh, good for her.
According to a police report, the stabbing happened after a male student pulled a female's dress in a classroom, pulled on it, and police say that's when she made several swings before finally stabbing him with a pair of scissors. The male student was treated by the school nurse for his injuries. He claimed he was, quote, only playing and never exposed the girl. He was given a summons for sexual battery. The female student is facing juvenile aggravated assault charges.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it didn't end well for either of them. In the future, don't stab them, but, make sure you tell the teacher or tell somebody. I bet he's not going to do that again, though.
No, I'm sure he won't.
Couldn't have been too bad if he was, treated by the school nurse, because I don't think they do stitches at school nurse. Do they? I don't know.
Well,
I was never in a situation where I needed that. This guy, were you really?
Yeah, I fell off the merry-go-round.
Did you have to get stitches?
Yes.
No kidding? By the school nurse?
No.
Oh, okay.
She does not do stitches.
Okay, well, see, that's why I asked. At least she didn't back then. Maybe they do nowadays. Who knows? A smooth criminal from L.A. is being called the Dine and Dash dater. This is such a jerk move. Several women now have been left with ridiculous bills because of Paul Gonzalez. He goes on these dating apps, and he finds women, and then he goes to dinner with them, and he ordered, in this particular case, a salad with shrimp, filet mignon, and many other things. Then afterwards, he had a couple of cups of coffee, and all the while he was saying, I'm really worried about my aunt. She's homesick, and there's nobody there to watch her, so that's his excuse to keep checking his phone. Then he goes, my battery's about dead. I need to run to the car and get my charger.
And
then he gets in his car and leaves. And in this particular case, he left this young lady with a $130 bill.
Wow.
And she said, I was on a date. I didn't even bring my purse inside.
Oh, my gosh.
She said, I felt awful. I felt so dumb. Here's what she didn't know. This same man has dashed on at least 4 other dates. Now there's a Los Angeles attorney advising anyone who has been a victim to please come forward. This man could be jailed up to 6 months or fined up to $1,000 for every one of those incidents.
Oh, good.
That's dining and dashing. It's illegal. Could get up to $1,000 fine as long as the bill is under $950, which all of them were. If it's more than that, it's even bigger fine. So,
whoa.
Yeah. This has been your scoop.
Yeah, good. Go get them, girls.
Exactly. This has been your scoop of the day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Do you have ideas for t-shirt designs, but you don't have a clue how to print them? Or maybe you'd like to have t-shirts and coffee mugs available to buy online with your business logo printed on them. There's a website that makes it easy. We set ours up in about 10 minutes. There's no sign-up fee, no minimum orders, no monthly fees. It's just a really easy way to put some cool items online for sale, and you get paid every time somebody buys them. You don't have to print or ship anything. Just sign up, upload your designs, and then let people know where they can get your cool stuff. More details available at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us today. Jennifer Palmieri is the author of a book called Dear Madam President, an open letter to the woman who will run the world. And I'm excited to chat with you. Jennifer, how you doing?
I'm doing great, John. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about the book and the concept and where this concept comes from.
I worked for Hillary Clinton. I was her communications director. I had worked for President Obama before that. And after the election, which had pretty disappointing results for me, I felt like I had learned a lot about obstacles that still exist in the world for women, but also in, helping to nominate the first woman nominee, helping to work for a woman who ended up getting 3 million more votes than her opponent, and working in the Obama White House for a long time. I'd also learned a lot of great lessons about how women can lead, and wanted something positive to come out of this experience. I felt that after we lost, women could either decide, women who were disappointed in the election could either decide that the outcome was the way things were meant to be, or perhaps women should start playing by a different set of rules and creating our own game. And that's what the book is about. Now,
the thing that's kind of fun, I like the concept. You're writing an open letter to somebody somewhere that is going to be president someday. And when you think about that, I think that's going to happen during our lifetime. And that person, is among us right now, I would say.
Yes, I agree. I think that it's written as a letter of advice to the first woman president, and I think that could happen as early as 2020. I think that I think that the election in 2016 proved it's certainly possible for a woman to win. And it is sort of neat to imagine, as I do when I open the book, where she is. What's she doing at this very moment? Is she on Capitol Hill? Is she sitting in a state house? Maybe she's a college student. Maybe she's a teacher. But I addressed it as an open letter because I wanted every woman to read it, to know whatever her biggest dream is. If it's, for me, working in politics, being the President of the United States is sort of the apex, that you can accomplish that. And it is, my background is in politics, but I think that the lessons that are in the book are written to apply to women no matter no matter what your sort of, however it is you engage in the world, by leading your family or a business or perhaps in politics. And there was a funny moment after the election, I think, for a lot of women where you could choose to feel defeated or empowered. And what I found amazing, as you saw demonstrated through the Women's March and the Me Too movement and the record number of women that are running for office in America today, that women chose to feel empowered, that it was sort of a confirmation for us that maybe the sort of set of rules we've been operating by in politics and the workplace were outdated, and women just sort of intrinsically knew that there was something better for us. And that's what I find inspiring, and that's what I describe in the first chapter, how I felt that way. And the rest of the book is about lessons on understanding the value of your own voice, the unique perspective you have, why it's important to speak up, why it's okay to be emotional, why we need more people to share their emotion in the world. And it's gotten a great response. I'm really grateful for that.
That is fantastic. Now, what got you interested in politics when you look at all of the different things you can do when you grow up? What made you say, politics is what I want to do?
It's a funny thing. I was born in Mississippi because my father was in the Navy and we were stationed there at the time. And my mother got involved in local politics through friends and actually worked for Trent Lott, his first congressional race. So, he's a very conservative Republican. I'm not, but that's my mom got me involved in his race when I was probably 7 years old, and I loved the power of a small group of people getting together to elect someone and make a difference, and I have been hooked on it ever since. I grew up in a military family. For me, serving in politics is another way of doing public service, and I have always, ever since I was a little girl, known that that's what I wanted to do.
Now, we were talking a moment ago about, the female president is out there somewhere. We don't know where or what she's doing. Could she possibly be an author by the name of Jennifer Palmieri, maybe? President Palmieri?
Oh,
you don't think so?
An outburst of laughter on my part. No, I don't think so, John. There are lots. I could tell you 5 women in the Democratic Party that would make great presidents, and I am not one of them. But one thing I would say is that when I first started to work for Hillary, I didn't think it was that big of a deal to elect the first woman president. I thought women had been doing great. I thought we had reached equality. But when you step back and you look at it from scope of human history, a woman being in charge is still a pretty radical thing, and we've made a lot of progress in the next 100 years. We can do any job a man can do, and now we're going to decide that, maybe we want to do it a little different. We want to do it the way we want to do it. So that's what I lay out in the book.
Well, again, the book is called Dear Madam President. It's available right now. Jennifer, thank you so much for taking time to visit with us.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, we're going to throw a link in our show notes to make it easy to find. Again, Dear Madam President. It's available now. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
It's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough, available now on Amazon, or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In Egypt, around 1500 BC, a shaved head was considered the ultimate in feminine beauty. Egyptian women removed every hair from their heads with special gold tweezers, and they polished their scalp to a high sheen with buffing cloths. Think you want to try to bring that look back?
No.
No? I did the, what was it called? The St. Baldrick's thing where I shaved my head back in March.
That was awful.
That was not a good look for me.
So glad your hair
Maybe
is
it would
back.
look better on you, though. Do you think?
I sincerely doubt that.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
George Lumley, age 104, married Mary Dunning, age 10.
Oh, my gosh.
Notterall, England, on August 25th, 1783. She was the great-granddaughter of the woman who'd broken her engagement to Lumley 80 years before.
Gross.
So I'm not sure what that was all about, but there you go. Couple of fun facts courtesy of LearnWithoutLoans.com.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
Now, your grandiloquent word of the day for this weekend is Brothers of the Bung. B-U-N-G. Brothers of the Bung. What do you think that is?
Is that one word?
Well, it's several words, but it's a phrase. What do you think a brother of the bung is?
I don't know.
It is a brewer, a person who makes beer. Now, let me explain why. It says from the word bunghole, which is a hole in a cask through which it is filled and closed by a stopper from the 1570s. A bung, B-U-N-G, bung, is a large stopper or cask, and it is uncertain of origin. They think from Middle Dutch, bong, B-O-N-G-E, which is stopper. But I've heard the phrase bunghole, and I didn't know that's what it was. I've heard it referred to as something completely different. Used in a sentence, it says, since the popularity of home brewing has boomed, my fellow brothers of the bung are beyond counting. So there you go. Couple of interesting things there from today's grandiloquent word.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Now, some weird news for this weekend. An Iowa man, this was sent to me like 5 different times, by the way, so thank you to everybody who thinks of me when you see stories like this. An Iowa man says that his dog, Balew, B-A-L-E-W, a pit bull Labrador mix, his dog shot him while they were roughhousing in the house. So, when people read stories like this, they think of me.
How on earth?
Well, here's what happened. 51-year-old Richard Remy of Fort Dodge, Iowa, told police he was playing with his dog on the sofa, and the dog tossed the dog off his lap. That's when the dog bounced back up, and he somehow disabled the safety on his gun, and it was in his belly strap in his band, you know.
Oh, yeah.
When the dog stepped on the trigger, the gun fired, striking Remy in the leg. He was treated at a hospital and released later in the day. He told the Messenger newspaper there in his community that the dog is a, quote, big wuss, end quote, and laid down beside him and cried because he thought he had done something wrong. So, well, of course he thought he did something wrong.
Well,
he shot you in the leg.
So,
but the good news is it's not like he's mad at the dog. He's like, hey, it was an accident. He didn't mean to.
Absolutely.
There you go. This has been some weird news. That's from Fort Dodge, Iowa, right here on the John and Heidi Show. Now, your moment of duh. This is such a bizarre story. This could have been our weird news, but it's really a moment of duh. Authorities say a Phoenix woman, by the way, she's 33, is accused of sending pornographic photos to a 14-year-old boy.
Okay, yeah.
Trying to lure him into meeting her for, something else. Communicating with him while playing Xbox video games, the state's attorney general said that the office is investigating a 33-year-old Lisa Korn, And she was indicted last Wednesday, charged with 24 felony counts of aggravated luring a minor for sexual exploitation and other crimes. According to the Attorney General's office, they believe Ms. Korn began communicating with the boy while they were playing Xbox video games and then sent him photos and emails and text messages. So there you go. I don't understand that. That is happening more and more and more. And I just think that that's bizarre. So she's 33, and she was really into this 14-year-old boy who clearly wasn't into her, or he would have acted on this rather than saying, Mom, Dad, this lady is sending me weird pictures. So bizarre. I just don't get that. But I have a link to the story if you want to know all about it. It's on our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
It's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough. Available now on Amazon, or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
Time now for fake news or Florida. You ready for this, Heidi?
I am ready.
I kind of feel like you were cheating. I saw you looking in my general direction a
I
moment
was
ago.
not.
You never look my general direction. You okay? You going to make it
I'm
through?
sure, yes.
Okay, here we go. Fake news or Florida? A Florida man behind bars after deputies say he attacked two people with a sword because he was angry over socks. Fake news or Florida?
Florida.
It is Florida. I think you knew that because you are a cheater.
I can't even see what you've got there.
This giant story rather than just some tiny little fake news thing. All right, I'm going to read the whole story to you here. It says, a Hudson, Florida man behind bars after deputies say he attacked two people with a sword because he was angry over socks. According to the arrest report, this 47-year-old Brandon McRae started arguing with people inside his home and accused them of stealing his socks. McRae threatened the people in the home, saying he would be back and they would be sorry. He left the home, returned with a ninja sword, which he used to injure two people. Oh, my goodness. According to the arrest report, one woman, identified as his ex-girlfriend, suffered a large and significant cut on her leg from the sword. He also swung the sword at a man's head and neck.
Oh, my
He suffered
gosh.
injuries to his hands and arms. The arrest report states the man nearly lost several fingers. McRae is facing charges of domestic aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and attempted murder. So,
good Lord,
they
dude.
showed up at the house and he said, "You stole my socks."
Must have been some nice socks.
I really doubt that they were. But what a crazy story. If you happen to have a story like this that comes from the state of Florida and you want to submit that for fake news or Florida, you can do that at johnandheidishow.com. Or, here's my favorites. Let's see how creative you are. Send me fake news. I could use some. Send me fake news, and we'll see if we can maybe use your fake news to trick this lady over here. Fake news or Florida happens this time each day on The John and Heidi Show. This portion of The John and Heidi Show is brought to you by The John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying The John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Time now for good news, and I think it's time for good news. We need some good news today, Heidi.
We can always use good news.
This is really good news. It comes your way courtesy of Odiva. That's the monthly subscription for ladies. All the details at radiosavings.com. Take a listen to this. Army grows ear on soldier's arm for transplant. You see this photo here?
Yeah.
There's an ear-shaped thing there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, thanks to a breakthrough in advances in medicine, Army surgeons have grown a human ear on the arm of a soldier. 2016, Private Shamika Barrage was injured in a car accident when a tire blew and her car veered off the road and flipped multiple times. She was thrown from the car, suffered serious injuries, including head injuries, spinal fractures, road rash, and the loss of her left ear. The injury was so severe it required her total ear to be reconstructed. In a rare and revolutionary procedure, the first of its kind, in the Army anyway, doctors recreated an ear for her using cartilage from her ribs. The ear was then placed under the skin to form under the skin of her forearm, rather, to finish growing. The whole goal is, by the time she's done with all this, for it to look good, and it'll actually have a sensation in like 5 years where she'll be able to feel it.
Wow.
So, she's 21 right now, and hearing in her left ear. She has hearing, she can hear, but media outlets report that there are 2 surgeries remaining, and she's feeling very optimistic. It's been a long process and everything, but I'm back, she said.
Wow.
What a great story. I've got a link to this in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.